I know you can explain why you failed and why you are not successful, and that your explanation is called an excuse. And I know it's so strong and so powerful that you think it's accepted. But guess what? It is not accepted. And there is no excuse big enough for you not to succeed. To see how to use your excuses to become rich, watch this video to the end.
What's my East China? I'm an expert global business solutions expert and your real estate success strategist known as the mayor of Calgary. The business channel where I discuss only business and you can do business directly with me, called My Ace TV, and you can check it out right here. This channel is my personal contribution channel where I'll be giving you exceptional values on business, personal finance, personal development, and life success. And I'll be doing that with a lot of fun because my one word is fun. And I always seek, teach, inspire, create, collaborate. You can just call me the contributor. Join the exceptional 5% that will watch this video to the end because you're very special people and you're rare. Welcome on board. Let's learn to grow rich together.
Come to my daily insights into my daily quotes with my ace, where I give you a longer, deeper insight into my daily quotes for deeper secrets for your accelerated result. And today's quote says, all excuses have been used, and guess what? None is acceptable. I'll say that again. No excuse is acceptable in the world. One of the greatest reasons why there is persistence of failure and poverty in the world is the presence of acceptable excuses. No excuse is acceptable, and all the people that have succeeded in this life have one thing in common. They do not take excuses. The only thing you can take in this life to make success is responsibility. Every other thing is to give. You only give to succeed. The only thing you can take to succeed is responsibility. And the only thing you can take to fail is excuses. And that your excuse, I'm going to diffuse and deflate it in this video. And after this video, you will be unstoppable. And then you turn your excuse to the reason to succeed. And guess what? Excuses and reason are the same thing. But reason are that thing you call an excuse that people use as a reason to do or get rich. You are using it as a reason not to get rich. When you use the same reason as a reason not to do something or not to get rich, it's called an excuse. When you use a reason as a reason to do something, it's called a reason. Reason and excuses are the same thing. And there are 6 people that have totally deflected your excuses that I'm going to tell you about. And one of the most fundamental excuses in the world is this number one excuse: is too hard. I know getting rich is too hard. Getting first class in school is too hard. Passing on merit is too hard. Being a good person in this evil society is too hard. Resisting the distraction of the internet so that you can study books is too hard. But guess what? There are people that have had it harder than you and they still succeeded. And here we have the story of Nick Vujicic. Nick Vujicic already deflated and diffused that your excuse that is too hard. It was so hard for Nick that he was born without one hand. It was so hard for him, he was born without the second hand. It was so hard for him, he was born without one leg. And guess what? It was so hard, he was born without the second leg. Nick Vujicic is one of the rare people that have a condition called tetramania, where they are born without hands and legs. He was only blessed with a toe, and he calls that toe his chicken feet. That he had every excuse in the world. Growing up, every other child made fun of him. Everybody made fun of him. Even now as an adult, I think he's not up to 2 feet tall as an adult because he has no legs and no hands. And he had every excuse in the world. Born in 1982 to an Australian-American immigrant of Serbian descent, yet he continued and did not allow his lack of legs and hands stop him. He went on to become a very successful, motivational evangelist. And guess what? He did not allow his condition stop him from reading. He did not allow his condition stop him from learning how to swim. He did not allow his condition to stop him from getting married. As a matter of fact, Nick is married with 4 beautiful children, and his wife is not tetra-amenic like him. His wife is a full-grown, beautiful lady. So don't tell me it's too hard to get that beautiful lady because Nick has already diffused that excuse. Don't tell me it's too hard to learn how to swim because Nick can swim without hands and legs. Don't tell me it's too hard for you to succeed. Nick is a successful author of more than 10 books. Don't tell me it's too hard for you to be rich. Nick is a millionaire in the United States. Don't tell me it's too hard for you to be known. Nick is a very popular evangelist. Don't tell me it's too hard for you to have kids. Nick, without hands and legs, has 4 beautiful kids. And that alone is an evidence to deflect that your excuse that is too hard. Don't tell me it's too hard if you are not born without hands and feet. Because if you have 1 hand more than Nick, then it's not too hard for you. If you have 2 hands more than Nick, then you are doubly even more fortunate than him. And if you have 2 legs and 2 hands, you're 4 times more fortunate than Nick. And you cannot use that excuse that is too hard. The second excuse I know you might want to say is that you are too poor. A lot of people make the mistake of saying it takes money to make money. It does not take money to make money. It takes wisdom to make money. Money or wealth is man's capacity to think. And one of the people that have used his capacity to think to not only make wealth but make enormous wealth that is still growing even after his death is Steve Jobs of blessed memory. Steve Jobs was also an immigrant that after he was born in 1955, he was abandoned by his parents and adopted by American parents. And after going to college in 1972 for only 1 year, he failed out of college because things were so hard for his parents. He could not pay his way through school. But when he failed out of college, he did not stop thinking. He kept on thinking, and he went ahead with his friend Steve Wozniak to form Apple in 1976. And from 1976 till 2024, Apple is a $1 trillion company. And even when his own company fired him, he did not stop dreaming and thinking. His own company had to reappoint him for him to revolutionize the company. And today, Apple is a leading brand because Steve Jobs did not take the excuse that he was too poor or an immigrant to stop him from innovating and turning his ability and capacity to think into money. There is nobody in the world too poor to think. Please take note of that. You have your brain, think your way out of poverty, and that excuse that you are too poor has already been diffused because Steve Jobs started from nothing to build over $3 trillion and still growing. The third excuse that many of you use is bad government. One of the people that have had it with the worst government in the world during the military era is my mentor that I call the most educated illiterate or the most educated school dropout, Dr. Cosmos Maduka of Coscharis. Dr. Cosmos Maduka was born to a family of 4 and he was the last child, and he couldn't continue in school at the stage of primary 2 because he lost his dad at the age of 4 and he was forced to hawk for the family to eat. And it was in hawking that his mother told him he had the gift of selling, that anybody he talks to will buy akara, and he believed it with all his might. And when he went in and started his Igbo apprenticeship system, it was the military era during the Obasanjo military period, and with all the bad government, he still believed in himself, believed in his dreams, and with all his poor background and lack of education, he still made it to become a billionaire in dollars. Recently, they just bought a company in Japan, a Nigerian buying a company in Japan, and he started with the worst kind of government. So whatever government you have, it won't be as bad as the government that my mentor, Dr. Coscharis, had. And the next excuse you want to use The fourth excuse is lack of education. The same Dr. Cosmos only had 2 years of primary education, or what he calls elementary education, because as of that time it wasn't even called primary school, it was called elementary school. And he didn't allow his lack of education stop him. He was so uneducated that he had to educate himself. And as I tell you always in this channel, self-education will make you a fortune. And he went ahead to become a fortune, and he employs first-class Harvard graduates in his company, even though he only had 2 years of education. If you can read and write, you have enough schooling for your education. And the fifth excuse you want to use is you have nothing to start with. Dr. Cosmos Maduka, after serving his master for 7 years, he was supposed to be settled with 2,000 or 20,000 naira. He was supposed to be settled with about 20,000 naira then, but his master only gave him 200 naira. As a matter of fact, his elder brother that went with him told him, leave the 200 naira, let's go, it's too small. He asked the elder brother, do you have anyone to give to me? The elder brother said no. He said, I'll go with this. But he did something that is very powerful. He asked the master to bless him. He said, with a blessing, no matter how small what I have to start with, I'll multiply it. And after the master blessed him, he told the master, you will hear of my name. Koschari's building in Lagos was one of the first private high-rise buildings to compete with other corporate high-rise buildings. And he went ahead to become the fame of Koschari's, starting with 200 naira. For those watching from different parts of the world, 200 naira is less than 10 cents. And this man turned 10 cents into billions of dollars. So if Dr. Cosmos can start with 200 naira and turn it into billions of dollars, you have no excuse that you have nothing to start with. And finally, many of you make the excuse that you are handicapped. You cannot be as handicapped as Nick, that was born without hands and without legs. One of the other persons that have bulldozed and diffused and deflected and in fact scattered that excuse is Helen Keller. Helen Keller was born blind and dumb in 1904, and at the age of 24 she was the first deaf and blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree in her country that year, and she went ahead to learn how to write, and she became an author of so many books and became a legend. If Helen Keller, that was blind, deaf and dumb, could learn how to read and write and even become an author and even back a bachelor's degree and the first blind and dumb bachelor degree in her country, you have no excuse saying you are handicapped. You probably can see or can hear or can talk, or you probably have hands or legs. Nick and Helen Keller have busted and eliminated that excuse. And these are the 6 hardest excuses that most of you use. I can go on and on and on, and I assure you, whatever excuse you can give me in the comment section, I will tell you a story that has used that excuse to make money. When you use excuses to make money and become successful, they are called reasons. When you use excuses to avoid to make money and become successful, they are called excuses. Don't use your excuses to be poor. Dare to use your excuses to be rich. And remember, our quote for the day says, all excuses have been used, and guess what? None is acceptable. So instead of peddling excuses that will never be accepted, why don't you grow up and become noble? And to see how you can become a noble person, click on this video above, and I'll see you on the other side.
It is super duper amazing that you found my content valuable enough for you to watch till the end. Only 5% of exceptional people do that. You're exceptional, and I deeply love and appreciate you. Don't just watch to learn, watch to take action. And the first action is subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of our daily value action. Remember, only doers are winners.